Hello and welcome to the Startline podcast with me, Beth Espy. This is where we get behind the scenes with road racers, from signing up for events and prepping their bikes to finding the funds and making the dream a reality. We're going to follow riders all with one goal in sight: to line up at the Manx Grand Prix in 2026. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. And again, this one is a little bit different today. So we're going to hear now from 4 people who are newcomers at the Manx Grand Prix and the Classic TT in 2025. I interviewed them all before they took on the Moutain Course for the first time. I was also able to speak to some of them during the MGP last year and then catch up with them afterwards about what their experience was like.
My name is Stephen Sewell. I'm a maintenance engineer from Cumbria. I've been racing motorbikes for about 8 years now, sort of short circuit stuff, roads at Scarborough. To be honest with you, it was never a massive dream because I never ever thought I could do it. It's sort of a thing that's sort of grown naturally. You know, I started doing track days and then progressed into racing, and then the idea got planted in my head, and here we are.
Here we are indeed. That's some idea to be planted, isn't it? So did you sort of grow up around bikes, or bikes in the family?
Yeah, my dad's always had bikes. He was always sort of fixing bikes in the kitchen and in the garden, and sort of taught me a lot, fixing old British motorbikes. And I think by the age of 6 I could balance a set of carbs on a Norton. It was good upbringing. And the TT and MGP, was that a fixture in your life growing up? No, my dad was never into the racing side of it, just sort of the classic bikes and things. But certainly when I started racing, as I grew up as a kid watching John McGuinness, that was probably what planted the seed, maybe. Yeah,
sort of from your neck of the woods, I guess, as well.
Yeah, Morecambe, not too far at all.
And your granddad was a bike rider too?
Yeah, dispatch rider in the war. Yeah, he had old sort of personal ones. He had all 500 two-strokes and things. Yeah,
definitely in the genes, isn't it? We should say you've got your partner and your daughter here as well, and I think they're quite into bikes too, are they?
Yeah, sat quietly in the corner there. Little one has a little revy that she flies around on. Mrs has bikes as well, track bikes and off-road bikes, so it's a big family thing. We go away for weekends and it's usually built around riding bikes in some shape or form. A couple of years ago, when I first did Scarborough, that was just a test to see how I'd get on with it. I think my missus was hoping that I'd hate it, but unfortunately I didn't. I really liked it. It was just something completely different from riding on a short circuit. Not just the track, but the people on it as well. There's a lot more grace given. They're not sort of stuffing it up the inside of you, push you off circuit. There's a lot more respect on road racing, which I quite liked. There's always somebody wanting to bully you out of the way, and you've got to do a bit of that as well on a short circuit, but you've just got to give people the room at places like Scarborough and obviously here. We talk
so often about what it must be like to suddenly be out there on your own on a road thinking, this doesn't feel quite legal because, I've just got the run of the road here.
I can't wait for, thinking back to when I just used to fly around on my ZX-10 thinking I was a hero illegally on the road, and now I'm going to be allowed to do it legally.
Hello, you newcomer. How are you doing?
Hello.
Are you all right?
Yeah, you just caught me as I was about to start crying.
Oh, how was it out there?
Absolutely amazing. Better than I could ever imagined. It was absolutely brilliant.
Do you know, that's the thing, isn't it? You kind of put so much into getting here, and then the reality of going out there and getting those laps in. So how did the machine feel?
Perfect, yeah. A little misfire at bottom end, which we're going to have to sort out, I think. Just coming out the throttle out the Ramsey hairpin there, it was bogging a little bit, but apart from that, actually went well.
And any surprises on the course? Anything you didn't expect?
No, nothing at all. It was just nice, flowing, calm. Try not to make a mess of things. It was good.
Oh, brilliant to see you so happy. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, Beth.
It was everything and more. It was, a range of emotions was the biggest shock. And it's just a completely different sort of way of racing a motorbike. And I said it was quite relaxing. I don't think that's probably the right word, but it was very much sort of like a process riding around there. And you had to force yourself to be more relaxed. And, there's not as much aggression as there is in short circuit.
And you had that first lap out, which is obviously the speed-controlled lap behind more experienced riders. And then you're let loose on your own, and I guess that's the moment when it all sinks in and you think, flipping heck, I'm actually doing this.
Yeah, the speed controlled lap wasn't really speed control. It was, for us on 400s, it was still flat out everywhere. But the first 2 laps where you get unleashed on your own was surreal. And it was over before I'd sort of thought about it, and then when I got back in, and it was, as I say, it was emotional. It was,
Did you have any moments where you just thought, oh, I'm not sure about this?
No, not at all. I absolutely loved it. It was, the best thing I've ever done on a motorbike.
And we know that you had your family with you as well. How did they feel?
Yeah, I think the first one for my partner was difficult because everybody in Parc Fermé was nervous and everybody shaking hands and wishing everybody good luck. And yeah, before everybody goes out, and obviously your mind's running away with all sorts of thoughts. But once I'd been out for that first session, out the next time, she sort of relaxed, and yeah, I think once I worked out that I could get round safely, the pressure was off a little bit.
And there's something lovely, isn't there, about the paddock life, because it is an incredibly supportive environment.
It is, yeah. We come away with more friends than we went there with. It was a great atmosphere, even our team working together and meeting new people. It was just, something you don't get anywhere else, and yeah, I can't wait to go back.
Do you know, we didn't really probably touch on what your goal might have been, because it doesn't seem right sometimes, does it, when you're setting out a newcomer year to think about actually what you want to achieve. But did you have something in mind, and if you did it go your way?
Yeah, I sort of had a few sort of thoughts of what I wanted to achieve, but I had to sort of put a stop to that and just think, I just want to finish. So, and the other thing was I did just want to qualify as well, which I managed to do, and then the race got cancelled, so we had another chance at the last race and managed to get a finisher's medal out of it. I would have liked to have gone a little bit faster than I did, but yeah, there's always next year for that.
And actually, you didn't have to do any of the pit stops, did you?
No, we didn't.
No.
So it got cut for 2 laps, down to 2 laps. So yeah, unfortunately, the bit we wanted to do, it's part of the experience. It's a big part of it, and the team wanted to do it as well. But yeah, we didn't get the chance with it only being 2 laps.
That is a frustrating thing, isn't it? I mean, you were really introduced to racing here on the Isle of Man. It had been glorious the week for MGP, absolutely, literally cracking the flag. So qualifying was great, but that sitting around and waiting for the weather to break, waiting for the organisers to make decisions, the laps being cut and whatever, all decisions that have to be made. But yeah, you got a pretty good sense of that experience.
I did, yeah. I mean, I can't complain. I got 15 laps in, which is, by all accounts, a lot in the first one. But yeah, after that first lightweight class got cancelled, I thought that was it. I thought we weren't going to get to race again, and I sort of started to relax and just write it off, and then had to get my head in the game again a couple of days later when it was go time again. But no, I can't complain. As you say, qualifying practice week was great. It was great to ride the circuit in good conditions. You didn't have to think about anything else. And then come race day, it was a little bit damp. So I thought it's the end of the holiday now. I don't really want to go crashing, so I just took it easy, sort of raced with my head, and got the finish.
How did you get yourself race ready?
Coffee, that was the thing, and just sort of, trying to get myself back into the swing of it, start working on the bike, and I sort of thought I'd wrote it off. I thought we were all going home, but just prepping the bike and sort of getting myself geared up to go again. But once you start getting your gear on and you're in Parc Fermé and you're chatting to folk and then you're out on the road, it soon quickly comes back, and you're raring to go again.
I just wonder what it must be like getting the tap on the shoulder. I don't know if you can really prepare for that sort of moment. Can you give us an idea of what was going through your head at that point?
Yeah, it just didn't feel real. If all the bombards you've watched, the films, the programmes, the games, it's surreal. Surreal is the word I'm looking for. It felt like a bit of a film. It was a bit magical, really. Didn't really believe I was there.
And if you could go back and tell the Steve of, 6 weeks ago or so, what would you say to him? What thing might he not have expected to happen during this fortnight?
What it felt like to ride round that place. It was not what I expected, but in a very good way. I thought it was going to be a brutal assault on the senses, just constantly dodging walls and things like that, but it really wasn't. It was quite controlled. We've had loads and loads of classroom stuff to sort of train us, and loads of knowledge gained off other people and working out which way the track goes, and all that newcomer stuff. You quickly realised how valuable that was and how it was keeping people safe. Years ago they just used to point down the road and say off you go, but it's come a long way since then. And
how were you physically? I mean, you mentioned the need for coffee before race day, because I guess there's not a great deal of time for relaxation and little naps in the afternoon, but it's also quite a physical assault on the body. Did you find that side of things okay?
Yeah, I mean, and short circuit stuff I usually complain with, with arm pump and things. I had a little bit of a trouble with my knee because of that. I have a bit of an injury, but actual rider fatigue was pretty good. I didn't struggle, apart from my neck was one of the biggest things because of the wind up on the mountain. You're constantly sort of getting buffeted a little bit. But yeah, I did 4 laps in one day and I felt like I could do a couple more. it's you're not as hard on the brakes every 30 seconds like you are short circuit. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more relaxed on the bike than it would be.
And you've already said you're looking forward to next time, so I don't think there's going to be any question that we'll see you over here again. What needs to happen for you between now and then to make that happen?
Hopefully I get the invite back. I need to look at what I want to do next year and maybe what bike I want to run. I think I'll still run the bike that I ran this year, but maybe another class, whether that's, 600s, classic superbike, something. But yeah, definitely sort of the more classic side because that's what I'm into.
Have you got any races coming up?
We were planned for Scarborough, but I think it's all just it's a bit too rushed at the moment. So I might try and get a short circuit in before the end of the year just to get some signatures ready for applying to the Manx next year.
I tell you what, it must be a long winter in your house.
Yeah, a long, miserable, sulky winter. Yeah, desperately trying to find things to do. I mean, we're pretty good. We get out on the enduros through winter and mountain bikes and things. You've got to keep doing something, I think. And you mentioned the finisher's medal. Is that a physical medal that you got to bring home? Yeah, it's like a big coin in a wooden box. Quite nice. I got invited up on stage to receive it. It was nice. Very nice gesture. And where have you put it? Pride of place on the mantelpiece with the others. Amazing. Well, Steve, just remind us where people can keep up to date with you and what you're doing race-wise. Yeah, just on my own personal Instagram and Facebook page, that's all. I don't really have a race page as such. I probably need to, but yeah, we'll maybe sort something out soon. And I guess just finally, if you could go back and tell the you who first decided and thought that this was something that they wanted to do, that actually you'd achieved it, how do you think you'd feel? Yeah, I probably wouldn't believe myself if I went back and told myself this years gone by, but yeah, chuffed to have done it. I'm proud of myself, to be fair, and proud of everybody that's helped me.
Hi, I'm Lee Stanaway, privateer motorcycle road racer from Stafford in the Midlands, engineer surveyor, ex-army, and racing at the Moutain Grand Prix as a newcomer this year. So Lee, we're talking to you just ahead of the MGP, which you're doing for the first time this August. How did that all come about, first of all? So I never really knew about the Isle of Man or racing full stop. My friend brought me over, Paul, about 5-6 years ago and put me at the bottom of Bray Hill and said, I'll watch this. It was a classic qualifying session. And I've never seen anything like it. I stood at the side of the track, and it sounds ridiculous, but I cried. I genuinely cried, and I went on now thinking about it because it's actually happening. We finally got there, and that was when I realised I fell in love with this place and the sport. I was already racing at the time, just local club level, still working my way through the licences. But that's when it first dawned on me that this is what I want, this is what I need to do. So, do you come from a biking family? No, not at all. Not at all. I first bought a motorbike when I was 17, which to my parents' disapproval. It was just a cheap and easy way to get about. I wasn't the most sensible rider for the time I was on the road, and my wife bought me a track day at Mallory Park for my birthday as a surprise. So went on this track day, and we were on an old Suzuki V-Strom 1000, all the panniers, all the boxes on it, the lot, and that's where the bankruptcy started. Went there, loved that, bought a track bike, and never looked back since. Did a couple of track days, started racing. And it just took over my life, to be honest with you. The only reason I go to work is, first pay the mortgage, but everything else just goes on racing.
Next will be Michael Rees, who's riding his Supersport Manx Grand Prix machine, the blue number with the white background. He's on the 5. Then we've got 54 in there, Stephen Gorton. 52, Lee Stanaway.
It feels surreal. It feels like it was a fever dream, to be honest. I really struggle to remember a lot of it, but I think it's just because of 10 days of adrenaline and your brain struggles to compute it. The only way I remember any of it is by looking at photos and videos, to be honest with you. It hasn't sunk in at all. How did the whole experience compare to how you thought it was going to be? It was just phenomenal. I mean, you think you know what the event's about, so not the course, but going out and racing a motorbike for an hour every single day. But there's nothing else like this on the planet. Nothing else like it. The team were unbelievable. Half of them, so like John and Linda Mullin that volunteered at the time. First time I met them was on Thursday, the Thursday before racing, and they couldn't have done enough for me. It was fantastic. Going getting the fuel, making me sandwiches, doing all this stuff. It was brilliant, and the weather was just phenomenal. I think Carolyn put on Facebook, it's the best weather I've had for the last 20-odd years or something, every single day is gone. It's just been brilliant. So you met a couple of members of your team, you say, not long before you even started. How did that relationship then come about? John posted on Facebook after helping Jack Fowler at the TT saying he enjoyed it and he wanted to get back in the pits. So I said to him, yeah, OK, come along. Here's a chat we had a conversation about. He was right with his stovetop kettle. That thing was always whistling away. But no, he come over on Thursday as soon as the boat landed. We worked till midnight, setting everything up. And then every day he was there at 7 o'clock and didn't leave till 7 o'clock at night. It was just a guy on the internet volunteering his time, and his wife Linda come down and she was making sandwiches and cups of tea, and when I didn't need any help she was off marshalling down a quarter bridge. So the pair of them are so into the event, and that's what you need.
We heard from you again in the first podcast about how important tea is, so I have to check out how your tea drinking experience was during MGP.
I think we drank more cups of tea than we did litres of fuel. I think we did 265 cups of tea, I think it was, in the end.
Did you actually keep a note?
Yeah, we did, yeah. So, we did that over 10 days. That was between a few of us. But, did that over 10 days. We thought it'd be a nice metric to have at the end, rather than just like, amount of laps done and fuel. It was just something a bit fun. Yeah, we did a lot. We did a lot of cups of tea.
And also, speaking about the laps, I think most people have said that for newcomers at this MGP, because of how gorgeous the weather was, you got more track time than really people can remember in recent times.
Oh, yeah, and the lap times or the lap speeds go to show that. Everyone was so on form, and some of the newcomers, Grant Thompson and Eddie Wormald, the laps they were doing as newcomers was just phenomenal, and it's a credit to them and their team. No one's a mug there and no one's a slouch, but it's a testament to how good the weather was and how many laps we were getting, and the organisers do such a sterling job getting everyone out on time and getting everything running for us. It was a dream come true, especially like you say after the Moutain Grand Prix last year and watching that wash out, unfortunately. And this was a year everyone's sort of been waiting for, and I'm so happy it was my newcomers year as well.
And you say, Lee, that it's obviously quite difficult to remember everything, and I can completely understand that. The adrenaline is running at such a high rate when you're doing something like this, I imagine. But you had that first lap around the course, that was the speed-controlled lap behind a more experienced rider, and then you have the first lap out on your own. What can you remember about those two?
So the speed control lap, I got up onto Glen Crutchley Road and I forgot to put the fuel in the generator. So I had the tyre warmers on in Parc Fermé, and then went up to Glen Crutchley Road and didn't have any power. Michael Rees was the lad that given us a tow round and plugged into his generator for a little bit, so he got a bit more heat, and it was all right. But it was an eye opener. That's one way of putting it. The first lap on my own was the one I was most, I'll say worried about or apprehensive about, because you're on your own and there's no safety ties there. You've done all your study and everything. And I remember I got to Glen Helen 1 and went round the corner, and I was already 3-4 corners ahead in my brain, because it was just the amount of study had paid off. And I was so grateful that I put that effort in before. Nothing really jumped out. Oh, I didn't know that was there. It was all there and ingrained. So for anyone wanting to do it, in the future, even people want to be a newcomer next year, start studying now. You can't get enough, and I think that's really, really helped me out. One of the big moments for me over the whole course was after the first race. I was absolutely fine for the whole time until I got into Governor's Dip on the very last lap. And got to Governor's Dip and I burst into tears. I couldn't see the corner or see Crutchley Road coming down it. I come in on the return road, and then you bumped into the fence where all the spectators stand and high-fived a load of people who went down, just pouring the tears and crying, just so happy and just so overwhelmed. Give all the high fives, and maybe a little bit too hard. I didn't realise, the adrenaline's pumped up. And then Jo Warriner was at the end of the pit return lane, and she said to me, "Can you come and have the bike off me?" Because I nearly fell off it when I had to stop. It was just so overwhelming, just unbelievable.
Do you know, that's incredible, Lee? And I think it just shows just what goes into getting you over here to the Isle of Man. You talked about all of that studying, all of getting the finance together, sorting the machines out, and sometimes we don't hear just how high the emotion runs at a point like that when you really literally have achieved your dream.
And this is it. It's box tick now. That's the first one done, and we're already planning. Was it 49 weeks now till next year? We're already planning what we're going to do next year and what we're going to try and take and what classes we're going to enter. But there's so many people there, and you see them after their first race on their own as a newcomer, and all of us are just in floods of tears. Everyone's having the same experience, and it's just phenomenal. No one takes this lighthearted, and it's like I say, it's not how much it costs you, not crying because it was all worth it. It's the amount of effort that you've put in. It's a dream. I looked up the other day, and it was something like we're one of 260 competitors that have been allowed to race on that course this year. That's such a privilege to be part of that group. That's the TT and the Moutain Grand Prix and the Classic all together. 260 people in the world have raced around that, and we're one of them.
Did you have that idea of what you wanted to do for your first time, and did you achieve it?
Yeah, so it was the A, B and C goals we talked about. So the C goal was just to get to start the race, the bike in whatever form. B was to finish the race, and A was to get 100 mile an hour. And I think the second night we ticked the 100 mile an hour lap. And on the last race, the last lap of the race on the fly, we did the fastest that we did, which was 104.4. So absolutely smashed all my goals. Well, when I first went there, I knew the course. I knew what was left and what was right. It was all the nuances that you're not going to get unless you're riding at speed. But that did come, and I had a plan of how to attack the course and how to tackle it and learn it. It all paid off. 104.4 mile an hour was just mind blowing. I've had so many people message me saying like, we can't believe you've done that on the bike you went on. So it was just phenomenal.
And how did you find the pit stop experience?
Oh, that was good. The team was so well. Being ex-army, I did drill all of them before the race. So we took the bike up the night before and did best part of 10-15 practice runs. I throw like little curveballs in there so they all disappear, and I'll close the stop valve. Say right, okay, pretend it's a real thing. And then, see if they checked the stop valve and make sure that was all open. And they did everything. And the thing is, though, even for a group of volunteers that just here to help me achieve my dream, they couldn't have put more in. I know we're in the top 8 for the pit stop speed. I think we went from 38 seconds down to 32. And for, a total rookie pit stop crew, I think that's phenomenal. And I can't thank them enough.
And the other great thing, Lee, is that there are so many people around the course taking photographs, and I've seen some absolute corkers of you, and that must be really special because you sort of said, actually, sometimes the memories are probably just through the photographs that you can actually see.
Yeah, I've spent hours trawling Facebook and messaging saying, have you got any photos of me? Obviously there's a lot that get populated. A lot of photographers are taking 20,000 photos a day. And it's just like, can you just have a look for me, please, and see if you've got any? The amount of camera lenses that you see when you're going around the course is insane. But I've been trawling YouTube as well for any footage, and I've gone through all the live stream that the Moutain Grand Prix put up and found like the clips of me on there and just saved those on my phone so I can go back and watch them. It's amazing how much you see as well when you're riding around. It's not just a racetrack. You can see if people are on the phones or if they're having a drink, or the smells. You're going through Kirkmichael and you smell someone's having a barbecue. You see and hear all these things and you see every single face. I've still got an image in my head coming out the Craig, driving down towards Brandish. I can still picture this guy's face, and he's just absolutely ecstatic and jumping in the air and waving at me and all this. I mean, I'll never know who he is, but it's just things like that that just stick in your head, and it's insane how much you do see.
I really hope he's listening and you can find out who he was, because that would just be brilliant. And Lee, you mentioned as we're talking 49 weeks until your next event over here. What's happening for you in between that time then?
I was supposed to race at Scarborough next weekend, but unfortunately I've had to pull my entry. The last race put a hole on the inside of my boot, just where I was leaning on the heel guard, so we're all out of cash. Can't afford a new set of boots, so I've pulled my race entry for that. Somebody's already contacted me if I want to ride a Classic 125 at the pre-TT Classic on the Southern, so that'll be happening. We'll do a few Scarboroughs, but the main goal is still going to be the Moutain Grand Prix and the Classic next year. The bike that we rode is coming up for sale, and she didn't miss a beat. Went through every single night, not a single bolt rattled loose. Nothing broke, no oil leaks. Unbelievable for the age of the bike and the motor, and it's just a testament to what Paul has built. Not a single bolt come loose. Either way, so that's up for sale now, and we've got to look at some new machinery, because it was a brilliant bike, but just not fast enough. 80 horsepower around there, especially when the class we were competing in, wasn't enough. So back to the drawing board on that. So hopefully next year we're going to come back with the Super Sport 600 for the senior class, come back with another Super Twin, and a classic superbike, probably in the guise of a GSXR 750. I looked at the lightweight class for the 400, but I'm 6'4". I was in enough pain on the S3 650, let alone a little 400. So that's what the plan is for next year.
And so have you got over the MGP blues yet?
Nope. Not at all. I had to force myself out and go for a run this morning, try and get some endorphins, try and keep myself happy. But everyone's the same. Everyone from the marshals and medical team, they're all putting up and going, we're all really sad we're away from it now. It's conflicting because you're on such a high because you've been and done it. You look at the photos and go, oh wow, we achieved that. But then, you've got to wait so long for it to happen again. I wish we could just win it as a series 7 times a year. That'd be brilliant.
I'll tell you what, sign us up for that, Lee. And just a couple of questions finally. How did you find paddock life?
It sounds apparent. I love it. Everyone's so friendly. I've made friends. You park up, you set up there, and people come over to help you to set up, or you go over to them and ask for a part, and they'll give you one, and it's vice versa, backwards and forwards. I mean, half my nuts and bolts spares are there in the Manx Grand Prix paddock currently. Not because I dropped them, because I've loaned them all out to people. But it's just what you do. You help each other out. You're all in the same boat. And I made so many new contacts and so many new friends, and people I do care for. People like James Walsh, who unfortunately had an off. He was parked next to us. And he was around every single day, and still taking part and going out and watching and, seeing if he can help us out with anything. The paddock's just superb. I'd rather live there than my own house, to be honest with you. Not that anything's wrong with my house, but it's just heaven for me, that sort of place.
And did you bring Milo the dog with you?
Oh, we did indeed. And he loved it. He had a fantastic time because he got to go on the beach every single day. It was part of my pre or post-race ritual. Down to a beach, get him in the sea. He's good for his achy paws and his joints. He's got arthritis, bless him, but get him down there and he can have a frolic about and have a bit of fun. He had a whale of a time. If he wasn't on the beach, he was snoozing, so it was fantastic.
Sounds like the perfect life. Lee, it's just brilliant to catch up with you. We are delighted at how much fun you had, and we can't wait to see you back here again.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Beth. And can I just say, I'm not going to do the whole sponsor thing because I've got a few posts and a few things I'm sorting out with those later on. But a big thank you to all the marshals, the medical team, lads and ladies at the physio. Are just phenomenal. They held me together for the whole event. All the technical are lovely people, and all the organisers. Thank you all so much for your effort and your help. It's really appreciated. It does go a long way.
I'm Blake Kelly, local to the island and currently living in Douglas, but my heart's up in Ramsey, really. Or Laxey. Just East Coast, I think, does it. So I remember getting the entry accepted back. So recently I left all my kit and the bike over in Spain because it was cheaper to fly to Spain and ride in Spain than it was to get a boat over to the UK. And they have this weird shiny thing in the sky quite a lot, so that was definitely a bonus. But we just got through security at the airport and were walking down. My phone had reconnected to the data and stuff out there. It just came through Manx Grand Prix. And I think I squealed like a little girl, to be honest, or very close to. I was absolutely over the moon just to get that back and get it confirmed. It was after the newcomers weekend that we did, where Milky basically told us, if you're here, you've got the entry. They were obviously just ticking the boxes and you sort of told and you're prepping for it, but for it to actually come through and go, yeah, this is happening, was incredible. And yeah, that's properly glued into my mind.
Have you set an expectation for yourself? Is there a goal that you would ideally really like to achieve this year?
I don't think so. I think just enjoying it. I was talking to someone recently about it. It was Gary up at Happy Dog, who does a lot of stickers and merch stuff. He said, I hope this is the first of many Grand Prix. I'm like, well, I know lots of people that have tried to quit 4 or 5 times and they keep coming back. It's like, why wouldn't you? And he said there's a couple of people that have done a lap and they've come back and gone, nah, that's not for me, got on the boat and go. So my goal is to come back and have actually enjoyed it. Yeah, hopefully Kurt Michael is as good as I think it is flying through the village there. I think that's the bit that I'm really looking forward to. But it's throttle therapy, isn't it? I can't really see, although it's one of those unknowns that, I love to worry about, I can't really see a situation where I come back in after being able to just let loose on the greatest track in the world for that amount of time. Where else do you get to do that for that long and then come back in and go, nah, I'll take up tiddlywinks.
Blake, I can't imagine what's going on in your head right now. This is quite a different thing for you because you've been up around here, around Glen Crutchley Road area, but as in your day job, which is a fire officer, how does it feel right now?
It's a little bit warmer. I was really calm throughout all of the day, and then once they opened that gate and I walked up here, it's sinking in a little bit now, so still very calm. So much has gone into this, hasn't it? Those preparations, those laps that you've done on open roads. Talk to us about your setup, your machine. What have you got here? So it's a Yamaha R6. She's a bit of an old girl, but still does the job very well. And it's pink, so you can't really miss it. But it's the bike I've been riding for quite a while now, so whenever I jump on different bikes, you get used to them, and it feels a bit strange. When I get back on that, it's like being home. It's got everything I need to help me around this place. I've got a bigger screen on it now and a bigger tank, so there's a bit more weight, but I can hide behind out of the wind. And I think for all the prep that's gone in, probably helps with being so calm because I'm just ready to go now and I'm feeling pretty prepared for what's out ahead. And we know you're quite fond of singing to yourself as you go around. Have you got a song in mind for today? No, I don't think so. We'll see what one comes with the circuit, what feels right, and a bit of karaoke through Ballygarry,
We are away. Grant Thompson away, 53, Blake Kelly.
Well, I'm just loitering behind Blake Kelly. We spoke to him just before he went out, and he's come in, and he's still smiling. Blake, talk us through that lap.
It's strange. I don't know how to describe that. Really, it was as I imagined, but also not really. I think the first session will be the proper teller, but that's definitely a great way to get out and just get over the nerves and see where the line is. It's dusty. There's lots of dust and stuff around, which I wasn't expecting. No one really tells you about that. But that's the first time I've got wheels up at Balaf. I haven't even bothered to do it on open roads.
And what is it like seeing all the people sitting in the hedges as you go by? Do you get a sense that they're there, or are you just so focused you don't notice?
Some of the bits, yeah. I think obviously with there being the speed controlled there, you've got more brain waves to distract and sort of have a look at lots of things. But there's loads of people sat out on the hedges all waving you on, and it's great, isn't it? Yeah, to have spent so many years in that position to now be on the other side. Yeah, it's great to be a part of it.
And you've got your orange bib and a number of names on the back just to show gratitude, I guess, for all that support that's got you here.
Yeah, so for a while I've ran the tail gang, which has been on the back in front of the camera there, which is great to see us going around. And I thought, you know what, we only get to do this once, and it's a bit extra special for everyone that's been involved up to this point. So I've got We Made It MGP 2025 up there, because from day one this has been the goal, and now we're finally here.
And Blake, you have said before, you are somebody who likes to plan, to think out every possible eventuality. We know motorsport doesn't always work like that, but how have your first few hours here been in that regard?
I think it's been pretty good, yeah. We've got, the team flows pretty well. We know what everyone's doing. We all sort of just have our roles and go on. And yeah, besides a little bit of an issue with the rear brake scrutineering, and we had to take off the belly pan to empty out the gravel that was only in there because we had to ride up the scrutineering. But yeah, other than that, it's been smooth sailing, no hiccups, which is what we want. And we've got away on time. The weather's good. It's a good omen.
And did you sing something?
I don't think I did, actually, no. I think I was just really silent, just watching on the back of the Grant in a few places. Yeah, just trying to feel what the bike's doing in different areas.
So last year, our only local newcomer, Damien Crook, was out, and I asked him, I was like, how is it? And he said to me, I could try and explain it anyway and it'll never live up to it. And I thought, that's a bit of a cop-out answer, that, fine and dandy. And now, having been out there, I totally understand it. And every time I try to explain it to someone, it just sounds like a load of contradictions. It was like, the roads are really familiar when they're open, because we live here and you see what's around them, and then when they're closed, you know it, but it's something that you know very intimately, but it's completely different, and it's really strange. And it was 100% mental, 100% physical all the time, and yet so peaceful. And it's just strange. It can only be described as magical. Words don't work for what it's like. And now I understand what Damien meant when he said he can't explain it. Like, yeah, okay, yeah.
And we just heard from Lee, who basically said he knows he was here and he kind of remembers the feelings and whatever, but actually the details are all a little bit of a blur.
Yeah, again, it's strange. It's sort of, you just kind of get into that zone. I mean, from like the whole newcomer thing, we're told, that your mind might wander and things might happen. You just have to ignore it. It's really necessary, really. If you spend a second dwelling on something that's just happened, then that's something that suddenly appeared that you have to deal with. And there's lots of stuff, and I think, I don't know where that is. Wayne Avis, another of our local newcomers, lost his belly pan on one of the races, and I can remember seeing it on the pavement as I went past and thinking, why is there a belly pan there? But he'd actually lost it. He didn't know where it had come off, and I couldn't remember where I'd seen that. It's like, clear as day, I know I saw that belly pan there, and as I was going past, I was thinking, where's the rest of it? But I didn't know where, and it was strange. On one of the sessions, I came down, and there was something in the middle of the road at Quarterbridge, and I remember thinking, what is that? Got to go around it. And it was a leaf. It was about this big. It was really dark green. I can remember the shape of it perfectly. Shouldn't be there. And yet there's loads of other things. And people have said, oh, do you remember this? Or we've been looking at the footage from the camera on the bike. Like, no, it's like, yeah, you're so focused in and can really remember the details of some bits, and then other bits, it's like absolute amnesia.
Did Wayne get his belly pan back?
He did, yeah, he did, and I think it got all the reinforcements and all the extra attachments on, so when he went out on the race on the Monday, he managed to finish and brought it back in one piece.
And you all go out for that speed-controlled lap first of all, which is a completely different experience, I think, from going out on your own. And it's a question I've been asking everybody so far, is what you remember about those two occasions.
Honestly, it was a few bits I thought, oh, come on, Johnny, speed up a little bit. So there was myself, Sam and Grant out behind Johnny Barton. So got three locals kicking off Manx Grand Prix. We were the first bikes to get out. We were the first group to get out. And following Johnny Barton is one of his onboards, commentated by Milky, has been like my main training tool. It's something that I always keep going back to, so it was pretty special to be finally out on the course, and to have done it in that group of locals with Johnny was ace. But yeah, there was a few points and I thought, oh, let's get the pace on a little bit here, and I see it's got to be controlled, but I think we still did. It was like a high 90 mile an hour lap on there. I don't know, it was 94 or 96 or somewhere around there, which is quite interesting, but nothing like the first session where you just let go. That's different. Yeah.
And what do you remember about that?
Not very much, really. Yeah, I got out all the bits that I thought I would be concerned with. Crosby Leap, bottom of Bagarrow, the bottom of Bray Hill as well. I thought, well, these are going to be the bits, the bike's going to be really compressed or jumping at these speeds. Absolutely fine. Nothing whatsoever. And then there's other bits that you didn't really put any notes on, like the entrance to Union Mills, or the bit immediately after the bottom of Bagarrow, where I was getting kicked out the seating all over the place. It was like, okay, this is a bit mad. I'd been told by a couple of people on everyone knows the section from Ginger Hall to Ramsey is bumpy as anything, and it is. It's worse than you think it is. And someone told me, as you go past where the old DOI yard is, make sure you're stood on the pegs. So let the bike move around and you'll keep there because you won't be able to see anything. I thought, all right, okay. So on the first lap, when I came through there, I tried to sit on the bike for the bit before that and just got bounced around everywhere and kicked about, and it's just wild. There's so much of that circuit where you are just on a squat and you're standing on the pegs while trying to make sure you're not putting too much weight on the bars, and keep it lit, make sure you know where you're going and change gears. It's awesome.
Apart from that, yeah, nothing much to do, is there?
Yeah, just ride my bike.
And that physicality, I think we do talk about that a lot now, because I think people don't necessarily appreciate just what a toll it can take on you. You're not the smallest of people, yeah. And that having to keep yourself tucked in, when you're dealing with headwinds and sort of stuff like that. How prepared were you for that side of things?
I think somewhat. I knew it was going to end up being difficult. I know a lot of people think that the engine does all the work, but once you understand the physics of how a bike works, it is wild. And like any sport, it's the harder you push yourself, the better you're going to do. So to be at any kind of competitive level, you have to be pushing yourself up there because someone else is going to do it anyway. It's not a track day. And I did suffer quite a bit trying to cram myself down onto the bike and tuck up as small as you can, because I'm 6'2", and although you have the big screen on the front, you're just trying to make yourself as small as possible. And everything that you can get out of the air is going to be that little bit quicker, and hopefully take it away from holding your neck up. There's a lot of weight on it, and I had a good progression through the thing, and it's sort of Grand Prix in itself was a bit bittersweet because I set the goals before I'd even started it, and I smashed them, and I have to keep reminding myself that I did what I set out in the start. But every session I got faster and faster, to the point that the standing start laps on a session were quicker than the flyers on the ones before, and there was progression, and did the first race on the Saturday and got a 109.4 mile an hour lap, and I knew there was place for improvement, and I thought, right, we've got the 110 here. I was also 0.2 mile an hour off, and the first person to not get a bronze replica. I got my finisher's award and thought, right, it's there, it's so close to get it. Went down on the Monday, and by Union Mills on the first lap, I knew it wasn't going to happen because everything hurt. I had a lot of issues up in my neck and shoulders kind of area. There was a little bit of a niggle on my knee, and it built up and built up. I think we ended up going into that last race. We'd done 17 laps. It was only what the lads of last year could dream about, really. And yeah, I knew it wasn't going to happen. It was going to be a long old few laps to battle the way around. And yeah, it didn't happen in the end. So although I smashed all the goals I wanted to, and it was building, it ended on a little sort of drop off. But now, looking back, once I'm over the post-GP depression, I think that was still 109.2. So to be almost at the pace there while everything hurt and I wasn't really enjoying it as much, I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, it's not too shabby, is it? It's a weird thing, isn't it? Because the qualifying early days, it's like a time warp. It seems to sort of like drag out, and you feel like you've got ages, and then before you know it, you think, flipping heck, it's all done.
It is, yeah. And I've got to say, it was depressing as anything afterwards. When I first saw that rain that came in and sort of ruined it for all the classic boys, at least then I could think, well, I wouldn't be out anyway. Going down Bray Hill, and it feels like I'm a snail in a motorway. It's like, well, it's wider than this, isn't it? And then it sort of settles down. And I had a lot of like the physical aches and pains as well, but I think, yeah, it's like the holiday blues turned up to 11, and it was quite miserable for a while. But now I'm set on next year, already planning for that. So that's what's going on. And I only realised on the drive in here, actually, of what might have made it maybe a little bit worse on the sort of getting the blues kind of thing, is that everything for the last few years has been for Grand Prix. Pretty much every decision I've made is, well, is this going to work with Grand Prix? Is it going to help me with my Grand Prix? Is it going to develop my riding for Grand Prix? And now it's done, it's like, well, what do I do? So I'm going to get another bike. I'm going to do it again next year, and that starts now.
And so what needs to happen from the point of view of sponsorship and machinery for you to be back there on the start line next year?
So I've spent all the morning actually just getting stuff up on Facebook for sale. So I'll clean out the garage. The bike that I rode at Grand Prix is already up for sale because she's 20 years old now. It was a bit long in the tooth, and there's a lot of change with the classes that's happening. I think they announced that the Super Twins aren't going to be the Super Twins for very long. That's going to be moving with sports bike regs and how they change, and Super Sports already had that lot of a change. So I felt for a while, even if you're on a 600, you're kind of a bit on the back foot in trying to get the Super Sport, never mind a 20-year-old one. So as much as I love the bike, it's time to change machinery and go forward with that, and just be a bit smarter about it. But yeah, starting to build the funds now. So if anyone wants to sponsor, come along, give us a shout. I actually had quite a lot of people passing down the paddock, and it was great to just chat to people and get them in and get them interested. And yeah, they're quite keen to get on board. And I think now we're up at that sort of level of the greatest road race in the world. It's pretty good.
Have you got TT on the horizon?
That's definitely the plan eventually. I was having a look at the results for the Super Sport, and I think with the speed I was doing, even at the end of Grand Prix, I would barely have qualified for the race, so certainly not there yet. And now I'm going to be sort of taking a few steps back as I have to learn a new machine and actually a new class, because it's a bit of a different riding style to it. So yeah, I think still a few years away, but that's definitely the goal.
And do you know what, you're talking about people wanting to get on board, and actually you are really out there when it comes to social media. We saw so many of your posts over the time, and that's something that I think sponsors, well certainly some sponsors, are quite keen on.
I hope so, yeah. I'm not very good at taking money from people. There was a few people that came up and they just wanted to pay, and it was like, oh well, I'll get you a new rear tyre for the race, which is massively appreciated, but I like to try and give something back, and some people don't want that. They want to be anonymous and they want to be left alone. It's like, well, okay, if on the other side I want to be able to offer more than just a sticker on the bike, I'd like to be able to bring you along and show you what's going on. I've always said anyone that sponsors, the kettle's always on, so if you come down the paddock, you can just come in and have a brew, and yeah, people do want to be a part of it at very different levels, but I like to try and give back as much as I can, really. So yeah, if I can do that with the social media side and really push it, not only just show them what's going on, but then here's your business on the side, or if you want the name in front of the tail, which was a bit bittersweet on that actually. So I have the tail gang, which is names on the tail, and they should sit right in front of the camera that goes on the tail, so it's a lovely view of my arse and their names, or their dogs' names, or their business, or quite a few racers have got their racing stuff on there as well, which is incredible. And for Grand Prix I did the newcomers vest, so I had them on the back there as well. Unfortunately, we quite early on discovered from looking at the footage that the faster I went, the more it sucked up my back, so you couldn't see it. So it was great, setting off from the line, or just going over Blaff Bridge, you could see all the names and it was great, and then as I got faster they all just curled up and you couldn't see anything. I was like, right, so we fixed that, tried to get some tape down, then unfortunately we got a message in the WhatsApp group from Gary Thompson to remind us that you can only have one camera on the bike. I was like, because I needed it on the front so that when I go and look at it, I can see what I'm doing. I can learn from that. As much as I love looking at my own arse, it's not very productive. So yeah, we got a few shots from the practicing with the tail gang and everything on there, but not the racing. So we'll see how we can wangle that for next year.
Yeah, see what we can do about arse cam. And just finally, you mentioned tea. Do you rate your tea making skills?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, okay. Yorkshire, proper, good brew, no sugar, just a dash of milk on there from Isle of Man Creameries, of course. That is a proper cup of tea.
All right. And obviously this was a different side to motorsport events over here for you, because you have been up there, as we know, doing the firefighter side of things, and so obviously you had people around there that you knew and whatever, and probably you knew more people in that paddock than most. Was that okay? Did you find it weird? You didn't stay up at the paddock, did you?
No, yeah, we did. Yeah, we stayed down
right,
there.
Okay.
Yeah, all the bikes and stuff there, and it's just I wouldn't want to leave them there. Not that I imagine anything would happen, but just being part of the environment as well. And Lee Stanaway was just around behind us. I was talking to him quite a lot. Another newcomer. We were down in the newcomers corner, so there wasn't too much going on, but it's nice to wander around and be a part of it, which is fantastic. Yeah, there was a good one in the race coming back, so you get all the people on the return lane and the kids are over there hanging their hands over trying to get high fives, and although it's a bit awkward that you're absolutely knackered and they're on the throttle side and you're slightly uphill, so it's quite difficult. You've got a balance between going fast enough that you don't fall off but not too fast that you take a child's arm off, and yeah, I find it quite important to high five those people. But as I got closer up to pit lane, I saw my colleagues there in their fire kit and I thought, you can have a high five as well, and yeah, I'm sure it made their day.
I'm sure it did. Just remind us, Blake, where people can keep up to date with what you're doing. online?
So it's Unrestricted Isle on Facebook, Instagram, do a bit of TikTok. All over the place, really.
Are you sick of looking at videos and pictures of yourself yet?
No, definitely not. And I just got to keep reminding people I'm a mountain course racer, try and slip it into every sentence if I can.
You need a T-shirt.
Oh, I'm on it.
Blake, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name's Dale Brew, I'm from Derby East, and I'm competing in this year's Manx Grand Prix. It's always been the goal to get to the Manx, and I'm finally here. So I suppose it started with me grandfather Dennis Brew from Ramsey. He raced, and then me Uncle Alan, me dad Andy Brew, and even me other uncle Ron Brew, they all race motorbikes. And me auntie Jane, she was actually Manx go-kart champion at one point as well, so always been involved in motorsport in one way or the other. So yeah, I didn't really grow up in the paddock atmosphere because Dad's last race was 94 and I was born in 95. Obviously I was around a bit with me uncles riding because he continued till not long ago, but I wasn't entrenched in the paddock atmosphere, but yeah, still grew up with it a bit, yeah.
And so when did you decide it was something that you wanted to do?
I can always remember waking up, hearing the two-strokes going through Sulby Straight for early morning practice, and it was just motorbikes. Grew up around them and sort of loved them, so yeah, I can't even think back to how young I'd be, but it's always been a dream.
Do you remember getting your first bike?
Yeah, when I was younger, going through any part of the road where I sat with me mum and I'd just be pretending to be on the bike where I was really little, and my mum would be going, stop doing that, trying to discourage me from wanting to pretend to be on the bike.
I am Ryan Crowe. I am Callum Crowe.
And you two have been around the MGP paddock over the past few days. What have you been doing?
We've been fortunate enough to be helping as much as we can to our mechanic Dale, and he's done an amazing job and he's made us all proud, so yeah, I'm very happy with him, and made up, to be honest with you.
And it must be quite something again to see him do his first MGP race and just knowing what that means to him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange feeling being on the other side of the fence. I know it's always been Dale's dream to do the Manx Grand Prix, so we would always support him in that dream. He's helped us fill ours, so we'll help him fill his. And did you find it nerve-wracking when he was out there? Yeah, absolutely. It's your best mate, and we know what it takes to go around that circuit, and sending a newcomer out, especially being your best friend, you know what it takes to do a lap around here, and it's very nervous, but as soon as he comes across the line, it's good.
I started both the Super Twin and the junior race, and I got 2 finishes. Started 47th in the first race and finished 35th, I believe, and the second race 47th and finished 33rd, even though I had to stop in Ramsey for a minute and a half-ish on the first lap. So yeah, 2 starts, 2 finishes, over the moon. A couple of days after, my wife was driving me down to go for a session at Hyperbaric, and we were driving down Bray Hill, and I was thinking, I could do this better. I want to go again.
But it was everything that you hoped it would be?
Yeah, definitely. It's like nothing else on this planet. It's absolutely brilliant. Like any road race that I've done so far, nothing compares. So yeah, just really keen to get back next year.
All the preparation that you did, learning the course, obviously you had the support from those fairly well-known people from the sidecar paddock. Did that all sort of make you feel like you really were able to hit the ground running almost?
To be honest, before you went out for your first few laps, it was kind of everything that you'd been told. Some of it didn't make sense. Like Ryan was telling me things about how to do certain corners and everything, and until you go out and do them first couple of laps where it becomes a race circuit and it's not just the roads you drive around on every day, then things start to click and start to make sense. And then when people are giving you a bit of advice, it makes sense, whereas before that you go out and you almost had an overload at the start of the practice. Like, you've been told all these things, you're trying to remember them all, and none of them make sense for the first couple of laps, and it all started to slot into place by the end of race week anyhow. So
you had the Crow boys supporting you, obviously know this course inside out. I mean, a different discipline, I guess, though. I don't know how that makes any sort of difference, or if it does at all.
They use different lines in different places, but I had all sorts of people giving me advice. I mean, race 2 I had Paul Jordan up on the start line with me holding me brolly, which was a little bit surreal, and again he gave me some advice right before I put my lid on, and tried it and it worked. And Andy Jackson told me a little trick. He says, you want to do this in a certain place. I'm like, you're mad, it's going up the wrong side of the road for the corner. He's like, no, go out and try it. She says, my dad told me how to do that however many years ago. And you went out on the first lap and you're like, oh, God, do a try this. And you tried it, it's like, oh, my God, why was I doing it that way? So, all right, Ryan and Callum are a different discipline, but, like, when Ryan's driving around with the things that he was telling me, like, there's a certain corner which I always thought I was going to struggle with, and he said, no, you'd be fine with that. And sure enough, I was. So it took a bit of panic out of going through that corner. But then, like I say, you got Paul Jordan and Andy Jackson, all these different people giving you little snippets, and it really helped. And what was the most unexpected thing over the couple of weeks, would you say? That's a really difficult one to answer, to be fair. How much I enjoyed it, I suppose. Like, I'll be deadly honest with you, I went out for my first lap, the controlled speed lap, and I was like, why am I doing this? And it felt uncomfortable. Because, again, back to there's that many things going on in your head. Like, you're trying to remember, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. Don't let them get away from you. Oh, bloomin' hell, we've caught another rider up, and everything's going through your head. And, like, it got to a point, I think it was before Ballacrane, and your brain's going, what are you doing this for? And then the more you settle into it, and you're enjoying it, and you're enjoying it, and you're enjoying it. And then on the last race, I come across the line and it was like, no, I want to go for another lap. And it was that bit there was unexpected. Like, you'd think that, all right, I've done a 105 mile an hour lap, which isn't at the top end of the field, so I wasn't pushing, so I had energy left. But I still didn't think I'd get to the third lap and go, no, I want to go again, so that was unexpected. And do you know what, seeing the smiles when you come back in as well, and, you know, your team around you who were so pleased with what you'd managed to achieve. And, you know, you talk about the physical side of it, and you've been carrying some pretty significant injuries. Yeah, well, I broke my leg at Tandragee. There's a couple of other riders that had injuries from Tandragee that done quite well. But yeah, bust my leg at Tandragee 6.5, 7 weeks before the start of the Manx, and I was in the hyperbaric chamber more or less every day throughout the Manx with David there on Bray Hill, and with Vicky Christian and the whole physio team, to be fair, up at the grandstand. Where without them and without David Downey, I wouldn't have got to the Manx in the first place, and I certainly wouldn't have been able to get through it, because I was in pain throughout the race. I was in pain, but there's only certain corners where you're standing on the pegs and you could really feel it, but you're just straight to the back of your mind. Forget about that, you're racing here. But hopefully next year, touch wood, I can come into the event without any injuries, and I can try a bit harder. How do you manage pain in a situation like that? Because I guess you have to be really careful what you take as well, don't you? Adrenaline's a marvellous drug. I literally didn't take any painkiller. I think 2 weeks after my operation, I stopped taking all painkillers, because self-employed, so I had to go back to work. Well, I had 2 days off the whole time, which was the 2 days I was in hospital, and then the day after I got discharged, me and my old man went out and we tried to get at least a couple of jobs done, and again, without my dad and my mum and my brother helped me with a few jobs whilst I was injured. But after that initial 2 weeks of taking a bit of cocodamol and paracetamol and everything, I just had to quit, because I knew that my goal was to get to the Manx. I knew that I still had to do some sort of work. So hopefully the surgeon's not listening, because he'd be really, really miffed that I was walking around on my legs at such an early time. But I had to do it. I had to go to work. I had to try get to the Manx. So that was it. No painkillers whatsoever. So I could feel absolutely everything that was going on through my leg. So as I could know whether I was pushing too hard and it was going to set me back almost. So yeah, and I didn't take any painkillers throughout the event either, because again, the TT course, the Manx Grand Prix, at the end of the day, it's an endurance race, and if I'd gone out on lap one and been silly and pushing and hurt my leg to a point where it was too sore that I couldn't continue on the next couple of laps, then it wouldn't have been worth it. So the same thought process was, don't take any painkillers and then you're all right, you know what's going on, don't you? So yeah, and like I say, adrenaline's a marvellous drug. And how are you now? How is the leg? Good. Still in the hyperbaric, just to get back to 100%. I've got a hospital appointment in the next couple of weeks where they're going to tell me that I can start putting weight bearing on it.
You're going to mention what you've been doing?
No, let's not go into that with them. I might get told off.
And in terms of racing now, what's next for you, Dale?
We've got Derby next weekend, and then I haven't really got anything else planned yet. I might go to Darley more for the Stars at Darley meeting, because that's always a really good meeting at the end of the year. But already booked some testing next year with Ryan and Callum. Done the entry for that the other day, so next year's already started. Already planning to be away in March doing bits and pieces, and already talking to various people about different things for next Manx Grand Prix. So, and
that's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's not just a case of having one meeting and then going, oh right, that was good, and taking time to reflect. You're constantly looking ahead to the next thing. I guess, are you going to change machine? Have you got an idea of what you want to do next year?
Definitely stick with the 660, but in talks, hopefully maybe have a 600 ride as well. I don't know. It's all a pipe dream at the moment, because at the end of the day it costs a lot of bloody money. The entry fees I don't know if people know, but the entry fees to do the 2 races that I done was £1,500. So if I wanted to do 600 races as well, we're £3,000 in entry fees alone before you've got a bike underneath your tyres, fuel, etc, etc. So it's all a pipe dream at the moment, but I'm working on it, working hard to be able to get there again. So, do you have an idea of how much MGP 2025 has cost you overall? Dare I ask? I haven't got an exact figure, but I'm looking at my bank loan that I've got, and it's not great. It's a hell of a lot more money than you anticipate. I mean, I had to buy the bike that I'm on to do the Manx because I went a different route last year, and then that class was scrapped from the Manx this year, so then I had to go down the Super Twin route. So it's cost me a little bit more money, but at the end of the day I've got the bike there for next year. But no, I haven't got an exact figure, and I dread to think what it actually is, because I'm still paying for it now, and I think I'll still be paying for it into January, February, and then try to start funding next year. But it's worth it, though. Oh, God, yeah. Get your ACU licence, get out Derby, get your ACU licence, work on them signatures, and get yourself down Bray Hill. Best experience of your life. And what do you think little boy Dale would think of what you've achieved? Oh, I can remember my mum telling me off going through, like, Glen Helen and pretending to be on the motorbike, like, when we were in the car, and she'd knock me on the shoulder and go, stop doing that, you're not racing motorbikes. And it was always a dream and a goal and an ambition from right when you were that age. And so I think younger Dale will be over the moon with what I've managed to do. So yeah. It's going to be a long winter in your house, Dale. It's been a long, week and a half, let alone the winter. It is going to be a long winter. It really is. But the sight's on next year. We wish you all the very best with your recovery. And if you are just talking to one person who's maybe thinking, do you know, I'd love to do this in 2026, what would be the best thing that you could tell them? Just do it, whatever it takes, do it. I mean, that's what I've done. I've been through hell the past 6-7 weeks getting up to the Manx, and like I say, the bank loan is not great, but you've got to do it. You've got to believe in yourself, and at the end of the day, if it costs you, you've got to do it. It's absolutely brilliant. And Ryan and Callum were pretty pleased with what you did? Yeah, Ryan and Callum can be men of few words at times. Certainly Callum, he just gives you funny looks, but when I came in and I'd done that 105, the smiles on their face before I even took the helmet off, and I'd impressed them. So yeah, they were over the moon with what I managed to achieve. So brilliant. Would you like to sing us out again? No, not this time. If you want to listen to me recorded and me thing, you'll have to listen to my first podcast. Dale Brew. We also heard there from Blake Kelly, the Manx rider, Lee Stanaway and Steve Sewell as well, all newcomers at the MGP and the Classic TT in 2025. Thank you very much indeed for listening to this episode of Startline. Do take some time to find the riders on social media. Your support is very much appreciated. And if you'd like to get in touch with me and be part of the podcast in the future, you can email beth@startline.im. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.